Hey, patrons. Welcome to another movie review. This is going to be for December of 2017, and it's Better Watch Out. Yeah, this is an awesome Christmas horror movie that I found on Shudder. If you have Shudder, you can watch it there. I don't think it's on Netflix, but it should be. It should be on everything because this movie should definitely be watched. So if you have Shudder, watch it. If you don't, find another way to watch it because I strongly recommend this. First off, before we get started, just want to say thank you for supporting me, especially at this level of patronage. You guys are doing a lot to help support me as I continue to expand Dead Meat. If this is your first time watching one of these, this is just going to be an unedited review. I'm just going to sit here and talk at you, and it's a chance to see me unfiltered, see how I am without all the fancy editing and the movie footage over me. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy. I like doing these. These are fun, and they give me an excuse to watch more movies every month than just the ones that I'm covering for the kill count. So thank you again for supporting me. And yeah, let's just get started. Better watch out, man. This is a Christmas horror movie. And I watched it because I recently discovered that there are certain stages of making a video where I can like have a movie on the side and like watch it kind of like half watching it. And so that's what I've been doing with Shudder. I got a Shudder account and started just watching random movies, totally random movies. And I put this on one night. I think I started it at like 4 in the morning because I was just it was during that stretch of editing. It was like the home run of editing. And I, in fact, finished editing shortly thereafter and then just stayed up to finish watching this. It was very hard for me to have it on the side while I was editing because I've done that with a bunch of movies and it's fine, but with this one it was so good that I was just totally drawn to it and I had to stop what I was doing and just watch it and give it my full attention. So it's a great movie. If you haven't seen this, definitely go watch this before you go watch the movie before you watch this review because it's got some cool things in it that I don't want you to have spoiled, and you should experience it. So, okay. All right, if you're still watching, you've seen the movie, you've watched Better Watch Out now? All right, you better have watched it or get out. Yeah. So the twist in this movie, man, was great. You think it's going to be a home invasion movie where the babysitter, I'm sorry, I don't know the names, so let me look them up real fast and see what the names of the characters and actors are. So it's Olivia DeJonge, and she's playing Ashley, and she is babysitting a character played by Levi Miller, named Luke. Levi Miller was Pan in that Pan movie. I didn't see it, but I saw that he was Pan. I think he's 12 here and she's 17, so kids playing their actual ages, which I always appreciate. She was in The Visit, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. I did not see that either, but I guess she was in it, and her brother in that, Ed Oxenbould, plays Luke's friend in this, Garrett. And you meet Garrett and Luke right away when they're upstairs hanging out, and I like that it sets the tone for who these kids are. I mean, they're talking about sex and how hot the babysitter is, and I mean they're 12, but like this is what 12-year-old boys do. If you were never a 12-year-old boy, spoiler alert, this is what they do. And the way I like it, I like to see kids portrayed in a realistic manner. It's like with It, that's one of the biggest strengths of it. How it's not some like just movie magic version of kids. So that was nice to see, and it really sets the tone for the whole movie because, like I said, they're talking about sex, and like this 12-year-old kid is talking about how he wants to try to get with his babysitter, which is obviously like she's 17, you're 12, like that's what? That's not gonna happen. But as you see during the movie, he really thinks it's going to happen, which is crazy. And his parents are there. They leave right off the bat. It's Patrick Warburton and his mom. I forgot who his mom is. I know she's also an established actress. Virginia Madsen, yeah. They have a fun little scene. I mean, they're great actors. They do have this weird thing about like Patrick Warburton's like gay outfit decorations thing, and she's like, "Are you sure you've never been gay?" That was a weird thing, and that so when the movie started and had that, I was like, "What kind of humor is this gonna have?" But it was just a individual moment that passed, especially when they left. And the rest of the theme of this movie, I actually think, is really important, and that's the theme of this movie for me watching it was male entitlement to sex and how like dangerous that is when boys are like young boys like a 12-year-old are raised to believe that like if they're nice enough to a girl then that they owe them sex. And that's really like the big theme to this movie, because the whole time he's talking about her current and ex-boyfriends and about how like they don't treat her nice enough and that they're garbage and that he's such a nice guy, and she has this friendly rapport with him. It's a similar thing to The Babysitter on Netflix if you've watched that. uh their relationship reminded me a lot of that one, because it's this older attractive babysitter and like this younger male boy who's like into her, but like they have like uh a real friendly relationship. But in The Babysitter, it felt kind of inappropriate. Like it felt more flirty from her. And in this movie, it seems more like, oh yeah, she thinks he's a cool kid and she can like play around with him. And it's easier to see how in this one, it's him misreading those signals of friendship and in a way of like, oh, I have a chance with her, like I can get with her. And like it gets real uncomfortable when they're watching that movie and he starts like actually trying to make out with her and stuff. And like this poor girl, she reacts just like, I mean, she's babysitting him. And I love that it's a realistic reaction. She like really shoots it down and says that it's wrong. And I think he's been drinking at that point. He just like broke out alcohol and started to drink, which is an issue. But so yeah, you think it's going to be a home invasion movie because they get a brick through the window saying you leave, you die. Garrett comes over, and then when Garrett runs out, he gets shot. And it's like, so this is about like 20 minutes in or so. Like, okay, cool. So this is going to be a home invasion movie. We're going to watch a babysitter protect the boy that she's watching and see how this relationship thing works out with him. And then 30 minutes in, they flip it, and this twist is so good. She notices that the mask that the invader is wearing is one of Luke's masks, and it's Garrett in a mask with the gun, like with his dad's gun. And so I guess Luke and Garrett put this plan together to like scare her into having sex with Luke, which is all kinds of messed up. Like taking advantage of like manipulating a woman into sex and trying to take advantage of like a heightened state of emotion or like some kind of hero syndrome or something. But she figures it out, and then she's like, "You're gonna be in big trouble." And then he slaps her down the stairs and knocks her out and ties her up. And holy shit, the movie gets going, because for the rest of the movie, you just watch this crazy little psycho kid as he has his babysitter tied up, and you just see like the whole his whole thing is like, I can get away with anything. I won't get in trouble for this. Everything's gonna work out fine. And I think they try to give her drugs to make her forget that this stuff is happening. I think it's like roofies or something, right? And it's such like it's funny because it's like a child like understanding of how those drugs work, because you can't they're not drugs where like you give them to someone and they forget like the whole day beforehand. Usually those things, once you take them, is like when the memory starts to get erased. I'm pretty sure. Maybe a little bit beforehand, but like he's trying to drug her as if like when she comes to, she's not going to remember him slapping her down the stairs. It's crazy. Uh I liked watching Garrett, his friend. Also, the acting of the three leads, who are all kids. The two 12-year-old boys and the 17-year-old chick playing Ashley, I think was her name, right? Yeah, Ashley. It's so good. Like I said, it's so realistic. The boys' voices, a little grating. Levi Miller they must have filmed this at the height of his puberty transition because it's just his voice is jumping octaves. Uh, so squeaky, and with that whiny character, it's really annoying in the best way because like this character sucks. Like you're supposed to hate this guy, and you do, man, because he's just so entitled. And eventually, he has Ashley's current boyfriend over, and kills him with the paint bucket to the head as like a Home Alone type thing. And I think that's when Garrett starts to really like freak out about they're going too far, and especially when he has the ex-boyfriend come over. And I thought this was a really interesting like subplot that he has the ex-boyfriend come over and then he has him like write out why he's sorry to Ashley in a note, and then he like hangs him from the tree as if it were a suicide note. So basically what I'm saying is I love the mechanisms that go into the plot of this kid's thinking of how he's going to get away with it. And I also like watching Garrett slowly like come around because Garrett's whole thing I think is interesting because he's like he's my best friend. I have to stand by him even though this stuff is getting a little out of control. I'm a little uncomfortable. He wants to stand by his best friend, and to me that's like bros before hoes. It's that like phrase that you're told at a young age as a boy, bros before hoes. And I have experienced in my life a lot of times where people interpreted that as like always standing by guys over girls, even if the thing that the guy is doing is so clearly wrong. And I think this movie is a great example of that. And one of the things that I thought was some little nice symbolism that's introduced super early on in that first scene with Garrett and Luke is when Garrett finds his womb sound effect machine under his bed, and it turns out that Luke still sleeps with it. So it's like, oh, this kid has like arrested development, you know? He tries to put on a front of being mature, but like he's still sleeping with like womb noises. So clearly he has some growing up to do. And yeah, I'm just trying to think of what else and where else to go. I do like that with the bros before hoes theme and subplot with Garrett. Eventually, it leads to Garrett getting killed. I guess you could argue that he's only killed when he finally puts hoes before bros, to use the nomenclature of the phrase. But I think I like to read it as he is killed because he went so far down that road of like supporting his best friend, even though it was clearly a wrong thing to do. And yeah, Luke kills him. He shoots him, which is crazy. And so then there's the kind of cleanup montage where he stabs Ashley, and which is super sad. Like she's gone through so much. That truth or dare scene early on when she first comes to tied up in the chair, that was uncomfortable because it's funny because it's like 12-year-olds and young teenagers play truth or dare. That's oftentimes probably like an introduction to like sexual things for kids that age, which is fine, as long as it's not taken too far and it's consensual and everyone's having a good time. But like here are these 12-year-olds doing it with a girl who's tied up, and he's like, I dare you to touch her boob. And so it's just this warped childhood and these warped notions of masculinity, which I think are prevalent in our society, as indicated by all the stuff going on with the sexual harassment claims coming out. So that's why I think this movie is just so damn good and so damn timely. It's like, hey, we have this seemingly epidemic in our society. It's a problem that's always been there, but it's just coming to light in at this level right now. And I think a lot of people are wondering, like, why is this happening? How could this have happened? And I think this movie is like, here's how, man. These kids are like raised to believe that if it's like, I know this is a thing on the internet with nice guys where like nice guys where the idea is like, oh, I put in all the compliments and nice guy coins give me sex now. Like I earned it. And I think that that's one of the reasons that we have issues in our society that we have. And I think that this movie is like, here that is. Luke has his little cleanup montage where he sets everything. There's a real nice suspenseful scene where he realizes that, oh, I didn't put the pencil back on the door to like show if he was sleepwalking, and his parents are almost home, so he like has to climb out the window and like put it there. Great scene. Reminded me of like Ferris Bueller rushing to get home in time. So then that happens, and thankfully, Ashley survives her stabbing because she was able to like duct tape herself up, I guess. That part was a little unclear to me, but I'm just super happy she survived, because if she hadn't, that would have been a real rough movie, man. Because, and I don't know what the message would have been if he had been successful in the end. And I was reading an AMA on Reddit and Ask Me Anything with the director, I think director and co-writer maybe, and he mentioned a original ending that he said was a lot more nihilistic, and I'm assuming that in that she died, and that I would not have enjoyed that, man, if that little shit got away with it. In fact, that is one of the few things with the movie. You see that she survives and she flips him off as she's getting into the ambulance. And so you know, like, oh, that kid's screwed, you know? But I still wish we had seen the consequences. Like that, oh man, it gave me blue balls. It gave me justice blue balls, because I wanted to see that kid like face the consequences of his actions. And even though you know he will, you don't get to see it. So that was a little unsatisfying. But other than that, I think that this movie was really good. Real nice twist on just, we've seen a lot of home invasion movies by now. Your Next has that nice twist in it, and this one is something new entirely. So great acting by the kids, good direction all around, and yeah, the themes I think are what really sell me on why this movie is so good and important right now. Maybe if we had seen the consequences of his actions entirely, I would say like this is a must see. I still think it's, if you're a fan of the genre, you need to see this. And yeah, so that's what I have to say about Better Watch Out. I'll be doing another one of these next month. I do one every month. And at this level, I just pick one of the movies that I've watched recently and review them for you. But feel free to still shoot me suggestions whenever you want to, especially if it's on Shudder or Netflix. It's easy to watch. Shudder, man, I love Shudder selection, but the playback mechanism definitely needs some work. Because like I'll jump ahead and then it'll like freeze and I'll have to restart the browser. So that sucks. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, for being a patron, for being a good person. Thank you. So I'll see you next month with the next one of these that I do. And what else can I say? Here, if you didn't know, here I'll drop you a little tidbit. Krampus is going to be a surprise kill count on next Saturday. So check that out. Don't tell anyone. This is a surprise, but figured I'd let you know. I've been working on it. I just finished filming it, in fact. So I'm going to try to get that done. And yeah, just wanted to let you know. Just wanted to drop you a little, just another form of thank you for being a supporter. So thanks again. See you later, guys.